Pretty manang baby.
It's pretty good. Cool.
See?
No, maybe I've got a smell from somewhere else.
Oh shit, she's having a poo.
You having a poo?
We should change her first.
Oh, you
That's
pick
why
your
she's-
times, don't you?
That's why she's crying.
I'm trying to vlog here, darling. You can't have a poo when I'm trying to vlog.
Maayong adlaw sa tanan. Welcome to Pamilyang Pordoy Vlog. Previously, we made a video about building a small house on a budget. If you missed it, please click the link above or in the description below. This video will be an update showing you in more details about the materials that we used and how much it's cost. We also have a few tips for you on buying lands and also the land titles. If you're liking our contents, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any comments and suggestions, please write down below and we will update you and answer you. So now, let's go to the kubo. Maayong buntag, everyone! Welcome to Pamilyang Pordoy Vlog again with our little Summer here because she's always crying and we don't have electric today, so we don't have any choice.
Yeah, we've got a brown out today, so there's no fans on in the house, and the little one needs some air. So.
Yeah, so we need to stay outside in the payag, in the kubo, so she can have fresh air outside.
Does she sleep now?
She's
She's
sleeping.
just done a really big poo. Massive. Just as I was about to vlog. Anyway, enough of that. Maayong buntag, everybody. We just wanted to make a follow-up video from the first video we did about building the house. And you'll find a link to that video there. There.
Yeah, as we promised to you the last time that we were going to have the more specific details for the materials, how did we bought the land, how the process, and we will give you some tips as well regarding buying lands, regarding the materials, what you should get, what's the best one. This video will be sharing to you our experiences about it.
First off, when we were looking for land, we were checking out Facebook Marketplace, and we saw some subdivided lots. There was a plan of all these lots that were for sale, and someone showed us round, and I have a video about this right here. This area here is subdivided lots that we first looked at. These lots here, I'll just turn this round. These lots here are just basic 72 square meter lots, which we could pretty much just get a house on. Nothing too big. This type of house we would build, but it would take up the whole house would take up the whole lot, so it wasn't big enough really for us. There's a house being built over there with a building permit on the top there, which you have to have advertised. So yeah, this area here would have been where we would have built the house, but it's pretty much too small for us. Camilla Homes was the next thing we looked at. They're a gated community, they have security there, and they have these homes on sites. You go around and you sort of choose the house you want, and then you put the down payments down, and then they build it for you. I thought they were quite expensive for what you got.
It's very tiny.
For very tiny houses, the standard wasn't really what we was looking for, really. I'm sort of used to a Western standard style house, and I wanted that as well, because Philippine house designs are a bit too small for me. The ceilings are very low, the doors are very, very low. I keep banging my head on doors and stuff like that. Yeah, like I said, for a cramped 2 up, 2 down house without a garden, it would have cost us maybe 1.5 million pesos, something like that. And another thing that put us off with that is the fact that you don't really have any control over the building process. The builders have their set ways of building these houses. I do believe, anyway, I might be wrong on that, but it seems
they got their own design already.
They've got their
own. You
own.
can't choose your design.
Yeah, you can't. Well, you see a show house, but they won't deviate from that, so you can't personalise it at all. So it just didn't feel right. It put us off a bit, so we looked elsewhere.
Next is we tried to look at in the marketplace in Facebook, and then we found a broker in there negotiating us about there's a lot somewhere here in Ormoc, upper area, which is we're in the upper area in the mountain. We tried it, but it's quite away from the highway, and it's not accessible for us, and the road going there is a rough road as well, so we don't like it, so we decided to choose another one.
We found a second spot that day, which wasn't too bad. I've also done a small video about that right here. Behind me is... Okay, behind me... This is the problem. Behind me is the second place that we looked at after the subdivided lots. This is just a private lot that was for sale on Facebook Marketplace. But as you can see, it's right next to the road. Well, as you can hear, it's right next to the road, the main road, and it's so noisy. It's not a bad little spot. I quite like the area, but right next to this road, and traffic's coming up and down here all the time, and it's just too noisy. But it's quite a nice little area. I think there's a few foreigners living around here as well. A few expats, so there is a small expat community, but like I said, traffic all the time, so yeah, it wasn't an option.
And then the broker that we met up, she showed us the last lot. Okay, it's 3 lots in that day. The last lot is the best one. We just like the ambience, we like the neighborhood as well, and it's quiet place as well, so yeah, it's a good buy to us. And the good thing is it's not that expensive.
No. Yeah, I mean, around this area it's usually about, well, now it's about 3,000 to 4,000 pesos per square,
5,000.
even 5,000 pesos per square meter, and we got ours for 2,500. It's still a little bit expensive for the provinces, but this area, I think because there's a few foreigners living around here, I think the price is a bit high. So we decided to buy it, and once we'd cleared it, I had to return back to England to go back to work, and Michelle wanted to move out of Papa's house and do a bit of work on the land, so we decided to build a native house, and I sent the money over to Michelle. And one of the neighbours here, Tate, him and Jerome, Michelle's brother, they built this native house just to live in for her and a couple of siblings to live in. Yeah, we got the electric and the water and the Wi-Fi installed here at the same time,
Which is very convenient because when we build our own house, we don't do the processing already with the electric, with the water, with the Wi-Fi. So we just transfer it right away at the house. So yeah, it's very convenient.
And the prices for that, I think we if we can remember, I think installing the water meter at the end of the road there, that was around about 5k. That takes the water from the main road through these black water pipes that they have all the way down to the road. It's about 150 to no, maybe 170 meters from the road. That's interesting if you buy substandard pipes as well, because after a couple of years you get buslot, which is holes, leaks all the time. And the system in England, you just call the water board and they'll fix your pipes. Not here, you have to fix them yourself. They will fix the main pipes that go down the road, but the ones that
going to your house,
I can't remember what they're called now, the pipes that come from the main road to your house is your responsibility, and you have to fix them. And when you're like me, who knows absolutely nothing about plumbing, it's tricky. You have to dig everything up and wrap rubber around it and put compression locks on it and stuff. It's crazy, but anyway, that's the water. The electricity meter was installed over there. That was about 10k, I think, 10,000 pesos.
yeah, for everything.
For everything. And the Wi-Fi to be installed was about 1,500 pesos.
Next is the building permit. So when you're planning to build a house, most especially if it's proper house, not the native house, when you're planning to do that, you have to make sure that you process your building permit first, because it's very tricky. Most especially us, when we do our house, it's during pandemic, and it's super tricky because everything closed. So we're very lucky because I got a friend. She's working in the government at that
Fixer.
time. It's not really a fixer, but she's helping us. So she's the one who processed our land title, our building permit. So yeah, we don't have any issue at all at that time. But the problem is our building permit came out super late. It came out when our house is done. That's the problem, most especially during the pandemic. But if you will, just like what I said, if you will going to build your own house, just do the building permit first
Yeah.
ahead. So there's no problem at all, because it can cause trouble, most especially if you're a foreigner.
Yeah, and if you've got neighbours that don't like you, and they can easily report you if you don't have a building permit sign. You really need a building permit sign outside your house stating all the relevant details. I don't think you need one if you're building a native house. I think you're okay with that. So it's when you start building a concrete house, you need one. You need plans from the electrical engineers and the architect to go to the city hall. They need to have a look at those plans as well. It's important really, because I think I've heard stories, and I've also looked on the government websites, and it does state that if you do build something without a builder's permit, a maximum fine of 20,000. You get imprisonment sometimes, and if you are a foreigner, after that you've been fined and imprisoned, you get deported as well. And that is on the website. I did check this actually, so I think that's right. Because we did start without getting our builder's permit because it was getting processed, but like we said, because of COVID, it was so slow. But the officials did come out and check our land to see what we were doing, and they gave us the green light for it, so it was okay. There's one thing about the land titles as well. If you're a foreigner that's coming over here to buy land, there's a few things to know about. I think you can't really own land here. I mean,
it's under your wife's name.
It's under your wife's name,
Or
or if
your
you can. There's a rule about being part of a corporation which is owned by 60% Filipinos or something like that. But you can't fully outright own land outright. You can lease land as well. When it comes to land titles, if you are in a partnership and you with a Filipino and you do get a land title, for God's sake, please just check the land title before you lay any money down. Go to the city hall or wherever they keep it.
Registry of Deeds, yeah.
Register of Deeds. Make sure it's clean. Make sure it's not part of a subdivision, because I've got friends here who've spent thousands and thousands of pesos trying to sort out land titles which are part owned by relatives that live abroad, or the titles been washed away in floods and typhoons and stuff like that, and they've spent a fortune trying to get titles sorted out. So if you're buying land and if there's any kind of problem with that title, just leave it. It's not worth the hassle. Go and find somewhere else where the title is clean, there's no problems, it's got maybe one owner.
Yeah, just one owner. Do not buy a land which is subdivided, because it's hassle. It's so hassle.
So much hassle.
You need the mother title, you need everything. It's just a hassle. But if you're going to buy a land just like us, that it's being owned by one owner, there's no hassle at all. Our land title, we got it for just 3 months, because my friend, she's the one who processed it for us, and because there's no hassle, it's clean titled. Only one owner, just pay to the BIR, go to the city hall, registry of deeds, it's done. That's it. Yeah, and a big shout out to Kristen Kate Gatan. That's my friend who process our land titles and building permits. So thank you so much, Kate, for helping us out, because if you're not helping us. I think it will take us 2 years to get that one, to get the title and the building permit done. So thank you so much, my dear friend.
And shout out to her friend, the architect. I'm sorry we forgot your name.
Yeah, we forgot your name.
But who drew up our plans for our house. You're amazing. If you're watching this video, comment down below and then we'll give you a shout out properly. Okay.
Okay, lastly, we're going to talk about the prices of the materials that we are using when we are building our house. So that you will going to have an idea when you're going to build your own house.
Okay, so rundown. Lumber was a big one that we bought straight away because the boys could use the lumber as scaffolding before they used it as the roof, so it had a double purpose really, which was quite handy. It saved us renting scaffolding. We used a mixture of wood actually because it was the pandemic and it was what we could get hold of at the time. We used Lawan, Jamelina and acacia and cocoa lumber for
Scaffolding
and stuff like that. Lawan I think is the best to get. It's the strongest I think. Gemelina's not too bad as well. They are readily available, they're very strong, very durable.
The prices of the lumber it depends upon the store really, where you got it. Okay, so tip for you, before you start building your house, you have to go different stores. Check their prices, compare them before you go. Do not go straight away to one store. And
see if you can get discount on the whole project, because you will get discounts.
Of course, because
if you use them for the whole project, definitely. Yeah, the wood price was the range was between 100 and 300 pesos.
Yeah.
Depending on whether it's 10 to 12 feet or 8 to 12 feet. It depends on the wood as well. So. The cement we used was APO Blue Type 1. The builders did recommend we use this because it's better quality. It dries quicker. I think it gets hard quicker. I think we paid about 206 pesos per 40 kilo sack, and we got a lot of sacks. A lot of sacks. There are other types of cement. There's the green and the red. It's just inferior quality, and we wanted to pay the best we could, pay the extra, because we don't want our house to fall down.
Yeah, most especially here in the Philippines, there's always earthquake, there's always typhoon. So just pay extra for cement because it's the best for your house. Okay? Yep.
People like to save a few pesos here and there over here, and they'll skimp on the quality of cement, and they will buy the green and the red or some other inferior quality, and they pay for it in the long run.
Yeah.
It just, especially on the roads, it just falls apart very quickly.
Okay, for the sand and gravel, we ordered 5 cubic each in the first order, and also our supplier for that is one of our supplier for our lumber as well. So lumber, the steels, this is the Rufino Enterprises. They're very cheap here in Ormoc, and they are, because we started our native house in there, because I bought all my cocoa lumber in there as well. So the owner is our friend already. So they always gave us discount. That's why I always buy our stuff in there. If they don't have stock, that's the time we will going to buy in the other store. But if they got stock, I always order from them because it's very cheap in there. I mean, the price of the sand and gravel before is just 850 per cubic, which is very cheap. It's very cheap. 850 per cubic. It's cubic.
We go locally here, and sometimes it's 1100 per cubic.
11 and 1200.
So a big shout out to Rufino Enterprises of Ormoc. They really helped us out with our house, and it would have cost a hell of a lot more if it wasn't for them. So thanks very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, blocks. Let's talk about blocks, shall we? Hollow blocks. I'm sure everyone who's built a house here in the Philippines has some amazing stories about using hollow blocks.
Yeah.
They're awful. I'm just going to come out of it. They're awful. You can break them with your hands. You could just rip them in half with your hands. Usually, the ratio of sand and cement that they put in the hollow blocks here is just all wrong. The amount of breakages you have when you're just transporting them around is, you just lose so much. We found one company in Ormoc called Titan. Shout out to Titan for your blocks. You got amazing blocks. I say amazing. They still break, but they don't break as much as the other ones because they're stronger. They're stronger. The price of the blocks was about 12 to 13 pesos per block. The steel bars we used were 9 to 12 millimeter. Yeah, I think Rufino charged us
cheaper,
under 100 to 200 pesos. Is that per bar?
Yeah, per bar.
Per bar. So.
And we bought so much because that's the base. That's the base of our house.
Yeah, our house has a lot of steel in it. Yeah, which is good. The roofing, guys. With the roofing, there are a few options to use in the Philippines. You can use the corrugated style. You can use the rib style. There's a tile type style of roof as well. Yeah, we went for the rib style. It just looked better aesthetically. Try and get the thickest one you can as well. This all depends on your budget though, obviously. The purchase price, I think it was about 100k. This included everything. The two guys building it, the spandrels, or the soffits underneath, which attached to the fascia boards, everything, It was one of the biggest expenses on the house build itself, which is understandable, but you get the roof done properly and you won't have problems in the future. We had the odd leak here and there which they come back and sorted out, but ever since it's been fine, really. We did have a problem waiting for the roof because of COVID. The delivery was coming from outside of Ormoc, from Tacloban. Couldn't get into the city borders because no passes and lockdowns, and so they'd send a lorry to the border to pick up the roofing and then bring it back to us, which they went out their way to do that, which was really good. And now Summer's going to explain about the plywood. She's a bit sleepy, she can't do that. The marine plywood, we used 1/4 inch. It's about 450 pesos a sheet for 4x8. Hardware, just general stuff like nails and tools, spades, barra, a wheelbarrow, things like this. That will come to about 16k or something like that.
Yeah, for the electrical, we bought all the wirings, all the bulbs, everything. But
all the light fittings and stuff like that.
Everything. Yeah, it cost us about 30k, including the labor.
Okay, there's two types of aircon over here. One is a split type with an inverter, which you have in the room, and then there's the window type, which is just one big old block of aircon. Some people have that half in, half out of the room.
But it's better to buy the split type because split type is not noisy at all. Window type is very noisy. You can't sleep with it. Just pay extra for the split type. I mean, the window type is cheaper, but it's hassle for you.
Tiles. Yeah, the tiles were quite cheap actually. How much were the floor tiles? The 60 by 60 tiles were...
Yeah, it's less than 100, and Emerald, we bought it in Emerald here in Ormoc. So it's less than 100 because they gave me discount because I bought loads from them. But the tiles for our bathroom is different. We bought it in City Hardware. It's not that expensive as well. I guess it's just 115. And the small one, the black one, is like 40, I guess, 40 pesos each. So it's not that expensive.
Yeah, we decided to put smaller tiles on the floor and bigger tiles on the walls. People say you should really do the opposite, but I don't know. It looks fine for us, and having big wall tiles on the wall, it just looks a lot cleaner for us, So the windows and door screens were all included in the price. The two screen doors cost about 6,000 pesos. The windows cost about 24,000 pesos. And that includes 5 windows at 120 by 120. One window was 180 by 100, and there were two windows at 60 by 60. All fitted in just under a day. Team of boys came around and smashed them all out. Smashed them all out. Smashed them all in. Yeah, super happy. The plumbing, the builders did all the plumbing. With the water pipe from the road to the main house, I think this cost about 5,000 pesos for about 175 meters. So just between 20 and 30 pesos a meter. I would get Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta are well known for their plumbing, especially for the sewage pipes. There are other brands, but I use some of those for the drain pipes, and it's just awful. So definitely use Atlanta for your sewage. And the black pipe I got for the water pipe, that was Atlanta as well. I had to change the whole 175 meters because Michelle got the substandard one for the native house, and after 2 years I'm fixing holes every day because the water pressure is quite strong here, and when they turn the water on, the neighbours would come around and go, "Hey, you got another leak outside." I was like, so I'd have to go out and fix it myself. And I just got sick of it, so I replaced the whole lot and bought Atlanta, and so far so good. The doors are mahogany, and they're treated with selenium and diesel before they were painted, just to stop all the woodworm and NA.
Yeah, it's a tip for everyone. If you're going to use any lumber, just treat it before you use it. Treat it with selenium or anything that you can use, so that it will last longer. Because anything, even though the most expensive lumber, will going to have termites in here in the Philippines. So just treat it before you use it.
We treated it before we painted it. 1 year later, we added another coat of paint, but I thought I would just put some more selenium on it, and millions of woodworm and I just poured out of it. It was disgusting. I was like, Jesus Christ. It's crazy how many termites are over here. So yeah, I would treat it big time. Yeah. The doors were roughly about 6,000 pesos each, I think, something like that. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much it. The rest of the things are just material things that we bought for the house, you know, like utensils and furniture and stuff like that, which we're not going to include in the rest of the video. I just want to add something on about sofas over here. If you're buying a sofa over here, please spend a lot of money on a sofa, because I've tried a lot of the Philippine-made sofas here, and no offense, but they're very hard. They're very wooden and hard. There's not much padding around them, and so you lay down and it's like this. So please spend money on a good sofa if you're gonna sort your furniture out for your house, you know. Just a little tip there.
Yeah, it's true. Thank you. Bye.